for a dramatic departure in tone. I'm going to talk about indie game communities and community building. So my name's Matt. I made a game called Hackness. It's luckily enough to have over 500,000 sales on Steam and a bunch of rewards and stuff. I've also made games that have like totally tanked, some of which have also come out. So I'm trying to like keep a lot of this from both perspectives. This talk's going to be about like dealing with your community and stuff you can do to help and some of the craziness around those launches. It's going to affect games that are like get bigger more than games that are small, but it should help everyone. All right, so there's a huge lag on this mouse. All right, so the problem, releasing games is like really hard. There are going to be problems, and like the community is probably not going to help. Managing the community really well can make the voices that are really good in the community, that are like helping you and helping the other people and people that have problems, it can amplify them a lot. And good community management will make the voices that are like being really negative or the people that tend to lash out when they have problems, it can make them less heard. And yeah, that's what you should be doing. That's like the goal we're sort of working towards, because there are going to be problems when you put out your game. This isn't what I did. What you're about to see is some live footage from Hacknet's launch day. Yeah, so like there's a lot of problems and there's going to be like a lot of bugs. Right? Like I like to think of myself as a pretty good programmer, but things are going to go wrong. Like your team is not going to be able to grow quickly, but your community and your player base might explode way out of control, and you're never going to be able to keep up with that. And the only way that you can like reconcile these two things is to have your community and like the good people in your community that like grows with the size of the player base to sort of like help you out, right? The community needs to be sort of geared in such a way that they can help each other. So like, I think I'm a pretty good programmer, and what are your questions at the end?
No, can you stop that? Because it's just really not
Yeah.
I'm not able to focus on what you're saying. Really
All right, we'll go to the next slide. I think I'm a pretty good programmer, right? Like I was working on helicopters and defense stuff before this, right? Like I'll put out a video, oh yeah, there's so many bugs, right? And like, I think that number's like okay. Like going through those forums and like fixing stuff and people that have problems, like 1,000 is a lot, and it's going to be really unpleasant to go through it. But you can get through that number if you're like diligent. Oh no, everything's bugs, right? There's just going to be bugs forever, and your team's never going to be able to grow to keep up with this like flood of stuff, because no matter how good you are as a programmer, like someone's going to be running this on a computer where they've like replaced all their graphics drivers with like pictures of The Rock. And it's like, it's a miracle your thing starts up at all, right? Like I've had problems where like someone has like the version number of like supported on OpenGL they're returning was like -1. Like that doesn't even make sense. That, like your computer doesn't support anything, and like your team can't grow to support it. And who's going to help you? Like Burger Town? No, like this is the Steam forums, right? This is like what your threads are going to look like, and it's like this is where your hopes and dreams go to die. And after you release your game, like no matter how well you've made it, like it's just going to be like pages and pages and pages of like this junk, like this guy who's misconfigured his like user permissions in Windows, right? It's terrible, and right, like even like with like 500,000 players on Steam. Having 1,000 bugs means that I've got like 0.02% of the player base is having problems, right? But this is going to be your entire life. You're not going to be able to see anything else. It's not sustainable. This is not like a system that you can work in. This is not a good way to like improve the game. You're going to have zero clarity on what the actual problems are. How many of these are duplicates? Trying to work through these to get information out of these people is going to be soul destroying. I know that because I've done it twice. Yeah, so this is my setup. I'll just skip right to the end bit, which is like, this is how I've done it now, and it's so much better. Like, and this is pretty obviously just a Trello board where like people can sign up and like add themselves to it, and then like they can file a bug, and if the bug already exists, someone else that's on there that I've given the permissions to that I know is like pretty trustworthy, you can just delete it, or they can merge the cards. And it's like feature requests, and then there's like stuff in this columns here. You can just drag stuff over and say it's fixed for the next patch, and they know it's coming, and then you go and get 1,000 more. Well, you do get those posts, but like, it's so much better, right? This is a system you can look through and like work through one at a time. And it's like also like if it's done right, and if you're telling people to input the stuff correctly and they care, they're going to have like all the screenshots and stuff, and all of like the links back to the forum that you like never want to click on. Like in these cards, there'll be all the information you need there to actually like deal with the bug. Right? So the obvious problem if you're looking at this is like, who's going to put it in here when they could just complain on the Steam forums, right? Just making a Trello board doesn't magically make your community heaps better, but it does. It does mean that people like this will be doing it. So the community is actually full, well not full, but it's got members in it that are going to help a lot. And they're going to be helping other people. Look at how awesome these answers are. Like these people are really trying to make the game better, and they're trying to help the person that's got the problem. And you want to be empowering people like that to like help you more, right? To have a better channel back to the developers. So like, give them those tools. This is exactly who is doing the job of entering those cards in. And there's like 100 people there that just went on the forums, and if they ever have something that's like a problem that's not covered by anything else, they can just put it on here. And it's amazing. It's so much better. You're still going to have the Steam forums, which are just terrible, but you want to be like designing systems that let you stay away from that as much as possible, because that's so unfiltered and so terrible, and people are almost always going to go there when they're angry. And this isn't a way to organize your life after release. You've got plenty of other things to stress about, and this is going to make everything so much worse. So setting up a system where the people that want to help have a better way of communicating with you and organizing things is so helpful. If you take one thing away from this talk, seriously, when you release your game, you are going to make a thread on the forums and pin it that has like bug reports in it, because everyone does that. But in that thread, just put this at the top. Say there's a Trello here. This is where you look first to fix stuff. If you really care about getting this fixed, go look through the list and like sort the things. There's going to be junk in it, but as long as you like give enough people that are good and that do care about making the game better the power to delete those things or consolidate the cards or whatever, it'll improve it so much. This is like, since implementing this, my entire life has gotten like a lot better, because you don't have to look at those horrible threads, because they're full of people that are angry and they don't understand that you're just a person, right? So how do you like sort it? The problem with this is that when you say you're fixing bugs, people are just going to go onto this and like drag their specific bug to the top. Like this sounds like really terrible because it means that the core issues aren't getting done. But like I'm not optimizing for everyone being happy. I'm optimizing for getting like the most praise from my community possible. So if I say I'm going to go fix bugs, then everyone that's currently online gets their stuff fixed. And like if you do this for enough days, then like it gets fixed, and it's like optimizing for you being happy, which is pretty legit. Which is a good lead into the new hot topic in game development, mental health. All right, so this is what your like opinion of yourself and your game is going to look like over the course of game development, right? So like up here, you're like, I'm so good, and up here, you're like, this is really terrible. And you see that it like compresses the closer you get to launch. So this compresses more if you're a smaller team, and it also compresses the closer you get to release. So like, this would like stretch out like a long way down here, and say your launch is like here, then like, because I'm like a one-person team and I was under a lot of pressure for launch, this was like crazy. And then afterwards, it's like even worse. But like, we just, you want to get it out there first. But this is a real problem, and it's like really weird to talk about. That it like has serious effects. You lose like a lot of clarity over like the quality of what you've made and what you're doing. So I was working on the expansion for Hacknet called Labyrinths, and I was going through this a lot. And towards the end, when I was like, a couple of weeks from launch, this was like compressed down to like a number of hours, where I was thinking this is really good and this is really bad. And then I hit a particularly bad spike down. And I was a couple of days from launch, and I wrote a letter to my publisher saying that I was going to can it. And like that I was just going to throw it away. And it's like funny, but it was also like really serious. Like I seriously said that like I think this is going to damage the IP. I think it's a bad business decision to put it out. And it, like this game deserves better. And I think what I've made sucks, right? Like I think this is actually going to be bad. And like spoke about it, and like eventually decided to release it, this was going right up, like I was still considering it, just pulling the plug, like up to like the hour before launch. I was just staying up at night being like, I think this is a mistake. And then Labyrinth launched, and like in the first 6 months, it got like tens of thousands of downloads and 100% positive Steam reviews, right? Like you can't judge it. And this is all going to be made like so much worse by like the community stuff afterwards if you don't manage it properly, because all you're ever going to see and all you're ever going to absorb is like the negative stuff. Like the human brain's not really wired well to equally value like positive input and negative input. Like you can look at as many good reviews as you want and you'll only remember the bad ones. And that's really chaos. So like setting up better systems for the community where you don't have to be looking at the worst possible side of it, in like regardless of how it's actually being received and how stable it actually is going to be really important, not just for you being happy, but for you making good decisions about how to grow and what to focus on and what to work on next. So your Steam forums are busy looking like this, right? And your reviews are busy looking like this, right? Because like some people are just not going to have the game work, and that sucks, and that's really depressing. So how do we like amplify the voices of people that are constructive, that are giving you good feedback, get like a measured response of how the game's being received and what changes actually need to be worked on it? We need to like hear from these people as well as the other people, right? And we need to get a good gauge of like how things are going in general. So the answer for me was in like the deepest, most secret part of Hacknet, behind like the tightest security and the most obscure, weird requirements I had in the game. It was like a secret file and had a secret URL on it. And that led to a secret Discord, right? And it's just like, so it was like the most secret thing in the game. And the idea was to get, to also be able to hear from people whose games actually worked, right? And ideally people who liked it. So that you'd have like both a player base of like testers and computers that you knew it ran on, and people to discuss future changes with and like balance with that weren't just in like pure rage mode. So a couple of notes here. You notice that this is like, this is the night of release. So this is Sean. He makes a game called Hackmud, and I was talking to him about the idea. And I just like smashed this into the release file only in English because I didn't have time to get it translated. Like just a couple of hours before launch, and I was like, yeah, whatever. I'll see if like anyone finds it. And then he's like, oh, I'm pretty sure he's sleeping because this is like 5 a.m. on launch night because I'd like put a typo. There was a typo back from the translators of like a mission critical password in Chinese. I can't read Chinese, like I don't know. So I didn't know, and then like I was just getting like loads of Chinese, and I put it in Google Translate, and it's like break angry. Shit. Oh man, that's not a helpful bug report. So I eventually worked out this password was just wrong in the Chinese, but they'd be typing it in, and it's like doesn't work. So I was like fixing that because everyone in China was mad. And then there's like, you got the first person's like, hello. And this guy's like, hello. And this guy's like, I'm going to write a Steam guide on how to get here, right? So it's not that secret, but like awesome. Alright, but it's really good. I got written out half this one because this slide matters to me. It's like, instead of just like looking through the forum and it being like just this horrible mess of negativity and like people where the place where everything was broken and everything was like chaos forever and it sucks. This was like a place that was really constructive, right? This was an almost perfect line back to the people that actually gave a shit about the game. That was doing this like management of like nice replies in the forums. You know, those people with little hearts around them. They all end up here, right? And if they don't, you just send them an invite because like they're the people you want to be talking to about this. And like if those people are looking at the forums a lot, and they are for some reason, I guess because like it's not their game, doesn't affect them like as personally, but like they're there and they're trying to help and they're enjoying it, and you want to be able to talk to them like what are the real issues, like what keeps coming up, and just tell them like I'm looking at the Trello first, and I like had these conversations with a bunch of these people, and like it helped so much. It like just changed everything that was going on with the support of the game. And like changed the game's future in a pretty big way because I was able to like really look at like what the community wanted and what was good and what was bad and make changes to do with like balance and like, you know, tweaking. Like nothing's perfect when you put it out. Like even talking about bugs aside, Like your game's not going to be perfect, and like adjustments will want to be made, and you just cannot trust just a random post. But if you can get like a good like overview from people that really care about it, and they can have a discussion together and settle on something that'll really help, then you can make that change and feel good about it because you're like talking with your community. Like this is the community that cares. So anyway, they all ended up there, and they were awesome. And they'd start like, this is where like I just direct them to the Trello and be like, hey, I'm fixing stuff, and I'd be talking to them as I fix it, and they'd be like giving me feedback. And so from there, I developed like extensions, which is like the mod support, and a bunch of people from here, I got to develop like extensions while it was in development, and I'd talk to them about like the features and improve it over time as like development on the mod support was going, so it'd have seed content when it launched. And we could also talk about what features are important, like how do I do this? And there was like a proper dialogue, and that just would have been impossible without thinking about how to build and arrange and filter the community into the people that I actually wanted to interact with. Of course, there's also this. They're just going to start photoshopping your face onto a bunch of stuff. That'll happen. I was also like short-sighted enough to make it my normal Discord account, so there's a lot of trash talk when I like would just play video games with some friends. I'm in a different channel, but it will say I'm playing something. You're like, bing, bing, are you winning? Bing, like. So I get that a lot. I also posted my forum, like my patch notes under my normal Steam account, so I get like a lot of friend requests. So that's weird, but like I wouldn't change it. It's great, right? Like, and all of these people are great. And like developing the tools to help the community that want to help like interact with you. Like you can think about it like the people that care about the game by finding the biggest secret that's in my game, they just get like a much closer line to the development and improvement of it. Like they can get the bugs they want fixed because like they have a much more direct line to you, and you can have like a conversation about things, and that's like the reward for like caring about the game, I suppose. And this won't work for everyone. My game's like oddly well suited to having a mysterious URL in it, and like, but like there are easy answers to it. Like the trivial answer is just have a post on your forums being like, this is how you directly get in touch with me to get something fixed, and it's just got a password about like the end game or some secret in it that they have to know because they have to have played your game to have found it out. I don't know. There are so many answers to this, but I'd say if you're gonna take something away from this, think number one, absolutely make that Trello thing. Don't just go to the Steam forums for your like problems in the game. The bigger your game gets, the worse this problem's going to get. And even if it's small, it's still probably going to be your own extremely personal hell. And two, like have a real think about as your game's like launching and growing, how to filter out the people that you want to hear from. There's going to be an endless supply of negative stuff, so you don't need to worry about not having enough of that and like forming like an echo chamber, right? Like stuff's going to get through, don't you worry. But like you should think very carefully about trying to filter down the people that you hear from and the ways in which you interact with the community to be like a bit of a subset. And you can make big posts and stuff and reply to people whenever. It's not stopping you from doing that, but like for your own sanity, and I really mean that, you're going to lose clarity without it, and you're not going to know what are the real problems to fix, because releasing a game is a weird thing for a person. It's really helpful, and it's really changed like everything about how I've been working on games, how I'm going to work in the future. They also become your like super core audience. These people like your stuff, and when you make something new, you can just tell them, and they'll spread the word. Like you need a seed audience to like help boost the game before the general public, attaches onto it, and that's how like you get rolling. You need like those like core people that like care, and these people are like just a neat sorted channel where you can just at them. And like I'm the only one that can at channel. I'm just saving it when I put out new games or anything, right? And they'll love it, and that's what they're there for, like because they like your stuff, and it's just like being good in every way. And I think it's really worth thinking about. Especially if you have launched a game and it's like started to go big, it's like critical to get on that now, because otherwise it's just going to break you. Yeah, thank you very much. So I'll take questions, not just about community stuff, but like video games, anything, whatever. Yeah.
How many people are in your core
Just me.
community?
Oh, core community? You know what? I don't have my phone, but the veteran server is about grew to about 600-700, and then the extension server, which was like the one that everyone migrated to once I put out the mod sport, that's like, I don't know, like 1,000, 1,200. It's not massive.
Is that a good size?
Pardon?
Is that a good size?
I don't know, it's the only one I got. Like, it seems good. Like, there are only like, 20 or 30 active people on it, but there's a bunch of people that are there, and if you like ping the whole channel, everyone's like, why'd you do that? Like, yeah, I don't know. It seems good. I don't know what you should aim for with that. I think it's mostly like, I'm not trying to grow it. Like, I don't want it to grow. I don't want random people in there. I think it's really good the way it is, like, the way like it self-filters out to be just the people that like want to be actively talking about stuff to do with your game are. So it self-filters like that really well. Yeah, about 1,000.
Sorry, can you just summarize the question when someone asked, just so it's on the audio?
Yes, I actually asked how many people are in my community. Anyone else? Yep.
With your community, are you trying to keep a very professional relationship, like as a developer to your audience, or are you trying to be kind of like friends and like, like would you be making these kind of memes and these kind of jokes with these people, or are you trying to keep the whole like, I'm a developer and I give you things? Okay,
so the question was, are you trying to keep a professional relationship with the community, or like more of like a friendly, jokey sort of one? I almost forgot, by the way, massive shout out to Matrix, Spider, Colomillion, Aqua, oh man, Rain. You all know who you are, all of the academics, everyone that made this stuff. Yeah, big shout out to the community, you're all great. And regarding the question, I started out trying to be like really professional and mysterious, and I just couldn't resist after a while. Like the trash talk instinct was too strong, and so I won't Photoshop up stuff like this, but like I will give like snappy remarks and embarrassing roles to people that annoy me and stuff. But like it's yours, and you can do what you want with it. I think that people like you need to be a bit above like the drama. Just because you're in a position of authority there, and it's on you to like sort of maintain the community and like lay down the law when inappropriate stuff's happening, and that can be sort of difficult. And you should look into like codes of conduct and stuff like that. But yeah, you need to maintain a level of professionalness where you're not like being inappropriate, because you are like sort of an authority figure there, and like you're even if it's on a very small scale, you're like a kind of public figure, so you need to have a certain amount of like restraint and professionalism, right? But like, I don't know, I joke around with the memes. Like, yeah, it's good. Anyone else? Yeah.
You mentioned mental health and how it can get a bit up and down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you keep like occasion the good reviews or the things you say like to make you like, I can do this, I'm doing well, like to reinforce that to you when you're not feeling great, or is it like jump on the interact kind of thing?
So the question was, do I keep like a stash of the good reviews and positive stuff to to boost me up when I'm feeling down? He did the gestures, don't be fooled. And the answer to that is no. It's kind of embarrassing to talk about, but I get quite like a lot of fan mail, and I find it really weird to go through, like almost uncomfortable in a lot of ways. So a lot of it's just sitting there like unread. And I have a promise at the end of my game that says like I'll read something if you send it to me, and I really appreciate the feedback and the responses and stuff. And I was talking to Chris about this and how it was like a big problem, and like I had so much to get through. I was building up, and I felt really uncomfortable reading it, so I felt it weird to get through, and I felt like I should be enjoying it a lot. And Chris was just like, just patch it out, just patch out the promise. And I thought that was awesome, but I haven't been able to bring myself to do that either. But I have more than enough unread nice stuff to like sort of tide me over. Maybe something.
You should apply for a grant to get somebody to actually read.
That's what Jason Im suggested. And I'm like, that's crazy. That would feel so like, that would be lying. I said I'd read it, but yeah. We'll talk later, it's a good idea. Yep.
Kind of an extension of Tony's comment actually. Like, is it, at what point do you get where you realize that you actually need to bring up people on to mitigate, you have expertise in this kind of in this kind of area, because a lot of developers have the expertise in making games but have no experience in community management. And I don't know, do you have any thoughts about bringing people on and like in your case, did you bring people on and
yeah.
why not?
So the question was like at what point do you realize you should bring other people on to help with stuff that you're not an expert in? Like I'm an expert game developer, but not an expert community manager, right? And my answer to that is like consistently far too late to be useful. Like you'll almost always like look back on it and be like, oh damn it, I should have gotten like a secretary, right? I was just getting too much stuff in for me to absorb, and it was really impacting my actual work on the game, right? I needed someone to help me sift through it all. And like the community got like too out of control before like, and then it was already sort of like a disaster. I just had to make sweeping bans before like I realized I should get someone to help manage it or make moves like that. So I was just too late with it because I wasn't paying enough attention. So I don't think my advice on that is very good. I would say be like wary of it. Like there are going to be problems, and if you feel like it's getting out of hand even a little bit, then like consider talking to people that are experts in this. Not that I know where to find them. I'm sure you can find them somehow. But like, yeah, community management is weird and rough, and I realized a lot of those problems way too late to be like ahead of the curve and to be hiring people at effective times. So I don't actually know when those times are. All right, anyone else? We good? We're good. Thank you very much.